There's one copy of Newt Gingrich's PhD dissertation in New York City at the libraries of Columbia University, and it's right here. We checked it out. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich likes to talk about how he's an expert in American history and how he has a PhD. His PhD dissertation, though, is not about American history. It's actually called Belgian Education Policy in the Congo, 1945 to 1960. He did it at Tulane in 1971. Why'd he focus on Belgian education policy in the Congo? For starters, his advisor was an expert in modern European history, but it also fits in with something that Newt Gingrich has always been fascinated with, which is what happens when civilizations and empires fall and who are the leaders who emerge, and that's what this dissertation is about. For example, on page 4, Newt Gingrich writes, "The very nature of a colonial relationship made it possible for Belgian government planners to restructure Congolese society with a degree of freedom unthinkable in a self-governing country." The dissertation is purportedly about education policy, but there are no scenes in classrooms, no discussion of textbooks, and as the author of King Leopold's Ghost pointed out, there's actually no interviews with Congolese people cited in the notes. Instead, what Newt Gingrich is interested in are the wonky details of how the Belgian leaders approached this challenge of building an education system from the ground up. But what's this dissertation have to do with his life in politics? Well, it varies because Newt Gingrich's foreign policy has varied over the years. When he was Speaker, for example, he mostly picked his battles on domestic policy and aligned himself with Democrats when it came to foreign policy, like he supported President Clinton's strategy in the Balkans, for example. When the September 11th attacks happened, though, Newt Gingrich came out and said we need to be bold, we need to be aggressive. He was no longer in office, but he gave a speech at the American Enterprise Institute less than 2 months after the September 11th attacks, and he actually ended it by saying, we need to be strong, we need to pressure people like Saddam Hussein in Iraq. There's actually a letter that Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld wrote to Vice President Cheney about 6 months later and said, we need to come up with a new entrepreneurial model for nation building. And he said, Newt Gingrich has some good ideas on this. So Newt Gingrich continued to be in touch with Bush administration officials as they were coming up with their neoconservative strategy in Iraq. But what you can see both in Newt Gingrich's dissertation and in the stances he's taken on foreign policy is there's another theory of history that Newt Gingrich absolutely ascribes to, and that is the great man theory, the idea that one leader with a big idea can have a huge impact on the direction of civilization.